Welcome to another episode of the True Beast Podcast, brought to you by X-Dog, the world's greatest fitness and health enhancement harness for dogs. They also have amazing crafted kibble, freeze-dried treats and toppers with pre and probiotics. In addition to that, supplements that go above and beyond industry standards. So if you're looking to level up your True Beast, check out xdog.com. But today's episode, of course, I got my man Trevor over here. And today we're going to discuss, because I just got back from training with Caesar Melon for the past week. Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity. And this episode we're going to talk about energy. It's one of the biggest things that I picked up from that experience, right? And just being out there, as soon as you step foot on that property, right? So he's got the Dog Psychology Center, and as soon as you step foot on that property, it's like the aura changes. Everybody's just like, you just feel, it's like zen, And it's nothing but positive energy out there. But what I really learned about it is how energy affects the things around you. People, dogs, animals, everything. And so it's almost like I came back with a superpower, kind of like the Jedi mind trick. I haven't talked to my dogs for 2 days verbally, but they're doing everything that I've always been wanting them to do, from my dog Bella resource guarding her food, that's done, and pulling on the leash while I'm walking her, no problem. From Triton having super high energy, always at a 10, dialing it down. And by the end of the week, I'll probably have them all placing, and in addition to that, I'll probably have them all, completely off leash walking with me. Yeah. So I'm excited.
That's good. So when you think about energy, what was your energy before?
Okay, so we had so when we went out there, right, we had, I think it's like 4 or 5 trainers that they broke us off, maybe it was like 7 to 8 of us per trainer, right? And so I was with ROTs. He is one of the head trainers over there at Caesar's seminar, and he owns Dog Fit Dallas here, and we're going to bring him on the podcast soon. He's an amazing human being. So I was with him, and as we're walking, right, you got Caesar up in the front, and then he has the middle of the pack people, and one guy has a backpack with a speaker so everybody behind can hear the conversations, because you go up and you walk with him for 5-10 minutes or 5 minutes for a couple times, and you get to know him and he gets to know you and stuff. And it was one of those things, man, when I was walking up there and he's handing me these dogs, I didn't realize, I always thought, when I was telling you earlier, I thought I was, what would you say is aggressive but confident, but I really realized I was aggressive, uncertain. And it started reflecting back onto my life, this whole journey, because I started kind of like reflecting back, and I was like, man, a lot of people have come in and out of this whole situation, and I've always had this chip on my shoulder since I was a little guy, you know what I mean, like having one eye, being multiracial, having to, just even being, like, I grew up in a small town, right, and being multiracial. It was mostly white, and I would come down here for the summer, so I'm getting, experience being in the city of Dallas, where it's multicultural, it's like a melting pot, and I get introduced to hip hop, and then I go back up there, and it's like, oh, you're a wigger, and all this other stuff, and
that term I remember,
man, and so I always had to fight for my own identity, and then having, one eye, and then just being broke, and then never want to be broke again, and just chasing this journey.
Not to cut you off, but part of the challenge, I like that, because part of the challenge that people need to make sure they understand is fighting for your identity. A lot of times, it's unfortunately sometimes fighting to fit in with people that you don't even need, let alone give a shit about. Definitely don't care about you, but a lot of kids and young people, and even to this day still, there is a cool group of kids. There is, the emos, there's all kinds of sects of individuals, every race and community per se. And it's funny because in each community, people are still trying to find a way to fit in and find a place called home.
Yeah.
And as I say home is where my dog's at. So back to your story.
But yeah, so I've always been walking with this chip on my shoulder, fighting for everything. Getting emotionally invested. I used to get so emotionally invested in comments about the product, and just when you're creating product, improving the product, and people challenging the product, and you have to debunk it, and we're walking, and he hands me over the dogs, and one of my elbows was up, and he's just like, just relax, and then we were walking. I was like, after that pack walk, I started thinking about it. I was like, man, I wasn't calm confident, because he believes in calm confident, happy-go-lucky, and calm submissive, right? And at that moment, I ended up being calm submissive. I could actually take in the information and energy that he was trying to offer, being a part of the pack. And I think this was cool because, I went to Fundamentals 1, he has Fundamental 2, right? And this is kind of ironic because I think, like, from what I hear from the other trainers, it's like Fundamentals 1 is more about you and Caesar and being around, the trainers in the pack, right? But Fundamentals 2, because we did a lot of meditation, we did meditation session every day. And Fundamentals 2, they said it's more about self and meditation. And I sat down, and it was kind of, we were all hanging out at the hotel, and we're sitting down. I said, "Did you think he did that purposely? Like, like he brings you in, he allows the pack to rehabilitate you, right? And then on the second fundamentals, right, it's more about you being on your own, because you can't walk around with, Caesar next to your side all the time, you know what I mean? Or,
you gotta at some point walk yourself.
Yeah, and so they're like, we never thought about it that way. That's probably exactly why he has it set up that way. I'm going to be interested in asking him about that. But, I come back from, the 5-day hiatus out there, and I haven't said one word to my dogs, and we're communicating tremendously well.
We know that energy is its own process in itself. So even when he's got this strategy, his belief, I think you said, and I've definitely watched a few shows of his, is a better human, a better dog. There's no bad dogs, there are a lot of bad humans, unfortunately. So when you don't know how to communicate or understand the instinct, the nature, and what a dog needs to even have the structure.
Yeah.
Dogs need structure. We did an episode about situations and all that other stuff. It is key, in my opinion, as I work through people's mentality as well, to build an inner self. And most people don't know that they don't have inner self, let alone self-control.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because, he has there's a lot of rescues that are out there, like dogs that he's working with. So there's multiple different breeds of different packs with different issues. And, the trainers, I met a lot of his pack is awesome. His trainer, this crew is exceptional. They don't give you the dog that's easy to control. They give you the dog that's tend to challenge you. You know what I mean? And so there was just multiple dogs. When you get the experience, I had dogs that were pulling tremendously, and then they would come up and make some slight adjustments with how you held the leash. Next thing you know, halfway through the walk, I'm barely holding on to the leash. Okay, let's all drop the leashes, and the dog's walking next to me. Never met this dog in my life, And it's like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, most people don't understand that confidence doesn't mean you're arrogant. Confidence actually means you're sure about what to do in said situation and can help yourself and others. And even being calm, you use the word submissive. A lot of confident people are also submissive as well.
Yeah.
Because they know that the smartest thing they can do is learn.
Well, when you say submissive, it's just submissive to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, just relax. Be calm.
So walk them through that. What does that mean? So they can better understand.
Well, from what I got out of it, right, this is just my perspective of it. Calm confidence is usually like, okay, he believes that there's a front of the pack dog, middle of the pack dog, right, and then a back of the pack dog. And how you can tell is when you set a litter out, right, usually the front of the pack dog's up in front, middle of the pack dog and is in the middle, and the back of the pack dog is usually in the back. I realize that Bravado, my American Bulldog, he's a back of the pack dog.
Chilling. And
so when we tried him, and he's had all this high energy, and I'm trying to reprimand him, right, and discipline him in a way to, just have him chill, it affects Bravado more than it affects Triton. I was like, oh shit, man, let me go back here and chill. I never understood that. And then, so as far as like calm confidence, we did this little thing exercise where he brought in the llama, right? And he brings in somebody who is a back of the pack person, right? She was just a really chill lady, and the llama comes up and gets in her proximity, and it was cool, like chill, like trust, respect, all that. Then he gets a happy-go-lucky person up there, right? And the llama's all in her face. And this is all within like a 5-minute period, right? And he sticks me up there, and I'm standing like I'm a bouncer in a way, That's the best way to describe it. And the llama gave me my 3 to 4 feet, didn't even come up to me, just knew, based off the energy. So calm confidence is, in a way, it's like I guess you would say an alpha of a pack, you know what I mean? A front of the person, a general, somebody who is very certain and without question, knowing what they're doing and instilling confidence of like, just follow me, I'm gonna lead you. Middle of the pack dogs are like happy-go-lucky, you know, like they're just, whatever's cool, man, you got it. And he had showed us this video, right? And it was a pack of dogs with a group of people outside, and you could probably look it up on YouTube. But he had this German Shepherd, right? Elegant German Shepherd, just regal dog. And he goes, look, that's the front of the pack dog, right? And it was just chilling. And then you had these middle of the pack dogs where this Husky and this other German Shepherd were getting together, and the Husky was actually kind of like instilling dominance over this Labrador, going around trying to hump the Labrador, right? And the middle of the pack dog German Shepherd was trying to interfere, you know, like, hey, that's not what we do in this pack, you gotta stop that shit, right? And the Husky challenged that German Shepherd. They get into it, the regal front of the pack dog comes in, pins the Shepherd, I mean not the Husky down. Husky goes down, he's stiff, he's not calm submissive yet. Then finally, because he's like, that's calm submissive, right? And so
now, just a little bit more details, and tell them why it's okay to let dogs work things out.
it's so important because it's all instinct. You know,
dog. We're worried about seeing a situation.
Okay, so check this out, right? Two dogs. Let's say you're walking your dog, and I'm walking my dog, right? And they go by each other, they never each other, and they go after each other, right? And they maybe get in a little far, but no one gets hurt. What's the usually, the parent do? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! They think that they're calming the dogs down, right? But all they're doing is marking that that situation to the point where that dog is going to probably do that again and again and again and again and again. Dogs don't think off emotion, right? They're not. Humans are the only people. He kept saying this, and it's really stuck. Humans are only people that follow unstable leaders.
Oh my!
Right? Like,
and you know what's crazy is a side note. I watch a lot of crime, investigative, discovery type stuff, and Joe King always says the most dangerous animals on earth are humans because of their emotional state of being a lot of times. Yeah.
And so it was really cool, man. He did this whole demonstration with a chicken and dealing with an uncertain dog, and the chicken correcting. He was in too close to the proximity. Pow, pecks his ass.
You know what's so funny, people, is we were 20 years ago. There were so many movies where there was a cartoon version of these from Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
There were all these kind of things kind of live together. Oliver and Company with the cats.
Yeah.
And, all these little movies, you see these instances where dogs get into it, and it's a cartoon version, but at some point the dogs basically find a way to coexist, but they also lose in charge.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about energy, man, what are some things that you would say people should be doing to stabilize their energy if they're dealing with whatever situation? But energy foundationally, what does that look like? Building upon it.
I think the biggest thing that I got out of it was just awareness, like awareness. Once you have your awareness that you okay, hey, maybe I'm getting a little worked up here, let me calm down. We did a lot of meditation. I think we talked in the past about routines, having your morning routine, setting yourself up. And then being around other like-minded people, like I hooked up with Mike out there. He's the meditation coach, but then also staying in contact in the proximities of these other trainers who are around him, and it's kind of crazy because I started thinking about some of these entrepreneur groups that I pay to be a part of and stuff, and they're great, but they're all so aggressive, they're not calm, confident, they're aggressive, confident, and everything is just and that was affecting me. I realized how much it was affecting me because you're going through war. As an entrepreneur, I don't know why they make it seem like it's easy, but entrepreneurship is hard as fuck.
Anybody who said it was easy, but the calm part, it's funny when you see a lot of little interviews of any of the successful people, and even Elon Musk probably has the most melatonin. Bezos as well. They're very calm about the things that they believe in. If you go back 20 years. A lot of times they get revved up and they address things and solve problems, but for the most part, they're pretty calm individuals because of their belief system and faith. Mm-hmm. And the irony is because they weren't chasing money. See, sometimes people get confused about success, thinking that it's the money that makes a person successful. It's both freedom and opportunity that they create for others that make them really successful.
Well, I think that was another thing I got out of there is that everybody's intent was genuine. It was nice. I don't think we discussed money one time out there, you know what I mean? But a lot of the trainers I hooked up with, you look at their accounts and stuff, they're very successful at business. And there was a bunch of people that I met that were very successful in business, but we didn't talk really business. It was more like like Caesar said, man, like you said earlier, it's better human, better dog. He doesn't train dogs. He doesn't call himself a dog trainer. He trains humans. Dogs don't have problems. You know what I mean? Like,
they know how to deal with them.
yeah, like most of the problems that are dealt with are human instincts and human laws, man laws. They're not dog laws, Dogs don't deal with emotion like that. They don't have emotion like that. And so
how do you better people? If you had to walk somebody through the whole X-Talk process, what would be the first step in saying, hey, this is how we run things here and addressing their energy and setting them up for success?
Again, bringing up awareness, and demonstrating it. I think, I'm a visual learner, and so I had to see it. And then seeing it, there were some people who went out there, to learn about dog psychology and dog behavior for their businesses. But then there was also a few individuals who were just having problems with their dogs. They didn't know how to communicate with them, you know what I mean? And to see their transformations in front of me and just seeing different individuals of how this individual would act, and then one of the trainers grabbing a dog and how they would act, or even there was some cases where a person was, a lady was she had social, what do you call it, where separation anxiety, but she had separation anxiety with her dog, and so
it was a double-edged sword.
The
dogs.
She freaked out,
but she's freaking out as well, which is crazy.
She freaked out, and her freak out affected the whole pack around us. I'm like, well, what is my dog doing? Why is he acting crazy, right? And next thing I know, she's like, she couldn't see the dog because one of the trainers had the dog and working him by himself. Because they don't really want you working with your dog. They want you working with other dogs, because there's certain connections, energy between you and your personal dog, you know what I mean? And so when she couldn't see it, they did that for a reason, because eye contact is a big deal, When I first came home, you would think, being 5 days away from my dogs, I'd be like, oh my God, what's up, man? I love you, miss you. No eye contact, no touch, no attention for the first hour. The whole energy in the house was just completely changed. And my girl's like, man, I'm so glad you're home, But she didn't realize that she's attention. And it's not to say that you can't love your dog, like you can love your dog, but another thing that I learned out there is it's all about the timing, exercise, discipline, then love, right? And discipline isn't beating your dog, so don't get that twisted. Discipline is, like, for example, it was kind of like, how was it explained? It was, let's see a pack of wild dogs, right? Or wolves, any type of pack predators, right? They wake up, what is the first thing they do? They kind of stretch, and then they go pursue food and water, exercise. Discipline, they get the kill, hierarchy, right? Front of the pack, eats first, middle of the pack, then last. Discipline. Then they're licking blood and celebrating and doing all that. Love, right? And I learned that love isn't just petting your dog and letting him do whatever they want. Love is just being present, setting rules, boundaries, and limitations. Love is food. And, a dog would much rather probably have food than be pet on the ear. And I realized that because there's some dogs that just like, stop fucking touching me, man. Let's get on with this walk. They didn't know me. So, but just to see how, dogs that were pulling, like this girl had major anxiety, like her dog was lunging at every single freaking dog. And Art's like, hey, just let go of the leash. And she's like, what? Like, there are all these dogs. He's like, let go of the leash. She dropped the leash. Dog was fine.
Yeah.
It was her energy that was affecting her uncertainty. So if you're not certain what ends up happening, the dog has to make the decision now. You know what I mean?
Just like, that makes a lot of sense. And people, when you think about discipline, if you have kids, you know how important it is for your kids to be man-owned and to have some respect. And you put your name on this child, and this child goes out to represent you in some way, shape, and form. So you let them get away with everything. No, in some cases you don't let them get away with nothing. But the gist of it is, everything in life has a process and needs correction at times.
Yeah.
Because they only know what you tell them, and then a dog, on the other hand, has an instinct. So when that thing gets out of control, it's hard to bring them back, because it's like, this is who I really am, and you got to develop that thing over a course of time. Practice every day.
Yeah, we did a lot of studying of different behaviors. Dogs perking up, seeing when dogs dial in with their eyes and how to snap them out of it and redirect
Fixation,
them.
man.
Yeah.
That fixation is bruh. That dog, I covered with pit bull strays back in the day. And that dog can't see straight because it's only seeing straight. You got a problem with your hands.
Yeah. and the only way you can kind of address it is being, calm, confident, and rewarding, calm, submissive.
And that's a lot of times. I've studied a lot of the dog training stuff, and now that I've got more dogs, I'm getting back into it. But that's a lot of times getting in front of your dog, putting it in a position that being sit or down, so you can control and keep it focused on you. If you got a powerful dog, you don't want to tear something to pieces.
Yeah, and it was really cool because I started learning about proximities. There's like 4 different proximities of distance of your pack, and usually in most cases. And I've noticed that like I'll be in the kitchen and my dogs are not next to me. They're about 6 feet away, laying down chilling. And I was like, I never realized why they did it or understood why they did it. And then the bravado to be in the other room, even farther back. He's a back of the pack dog. They're in the middle of the pack. And it was like, huh. And there were so many aha moments and golden nuggets, and not that I had a bunch of bad dogs, but in addition to, I realized, I walk my dogs every day, but the intent wasn't there. My intent was different. My intent was, let me walk my dogs this morning to say I walked my dogs so I can check off the box and feel better about myself later.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, let me walk my dogs to build a better relationship, to communicate with them and make it about me. So these last couple of days, I wake up and I walk my dog, I turn my phone off, and it's just me and the dogs. And it game changer, man.
A huge game changer. I do that so I like to go hiking, and my buddy who grew up with the sound, he knows I've recommended him and his old lady, and her specifically since she has a pup. I've always done that, man. I think it's so, I believe in work.
Yeah.
I believe in the exercise and part, so that's why the X-Dog vest, it resonated with me because I didn't have to go in back in the day again, custom everything, and you have to measure all the stuff, and it takes forever to get. So building that bond is taking your dog on an adventure and making sure your dog's having a great time.
Well, yeah, it puts in the work. Like, again, you have dogs with pent up energy.
Oh
right?
my God, bro. They'll tell your house pieces if you don't treat that.
Yeah, it's energy, and so I got to see it from a mental, psychological perspective on how they utilize the tool. A lot of our clients, they use it to improve speed, improve performance, improve ability to jump, endurance, build muscle, combat obesity and anxiety. But I never seen it used in a way that these behaviors trainers did it, where they put the vest on to put the dog into work and to snap them out. And there was dogs that were walking that people were having just tremendous problems with, and they would throw the vest on the dogs, and with not even a few steps in the walk, the dog was like completely different. Like, oh, I'm working now. I was mind blown. It was, it was like almost a seminar on the vest, and I was like, holy shit, this is really happening, and so it was a lot of things, man. There's a lot of emotional times for me just because, I've written this and visualized it for a long time. I want to work with Caesar Malone. I want to meet with him. I want to go to, and it's been about 10 years and boom, now it's here. And I'm just like, okay, I'm here now. It's fucking wild. But, it's, again, putting that energy out in the universe, trying, dialing in what you want.
The other thing too is I know you've been working on your energy even before going to this, so you brought your energy to a place where you basically could receive everything that was going to happen that you didn't know that was going to happen while you were there.
Yeah, like you kind of know it's going to happen, but you don't know how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like you plant those seeds and you keep planting those seeds. And I think, again, a lot of people, especially now, and you can, things that took 20 years to do before can take 2 years now. So like you said, a guy's 50 years old and he's got one of the most successful businesses in the world. Most people who think they're 50 years old or even in their 30s or 40s, they think it's too late. It's not, And so, technically, I'm going to be 44 this year, and the vest has only been out for 5 years, I've had a long journey, right? But it's a short period of time since the vest been out. And so, it's just one of those things, man, where you just constantly reflect. And it was like, when I was telling them, I was like, man, when I come back, they're going to think I'm bullshitting because I really had a spiritual shift in mindset, where I'm constantly aware. Everything I do is about being calm. Of course, I want to bring energy to the podcast. When you get around people like, you know, like when we're in together and you're like excited, it's not saying you can't be excited, you can't have fun, but what I'm saying is just not letting your emotional energy take over to where you're making bad decisions or making improper decisions or making indecisive decisions, you know. I have a lot of certainty now what the direction we're going to go, and to have, arguably, I say he's the GOAT when you talk about, when it comes to dog training. I mean, who could say who's done a better job, has a bigger marketing platform. Of course, there's other trainers out there who think they're better trainers, and maybe they are better dog trainers, you know, but he's a dog behaviorist, a dog psychologist, you know, and it's a different thing. He trains humans, and when it comes to, you know, the everyday person, you can say the dog whisperer and they know who it is, you know.
The invisible guy.
And so, I mean, yeah, man. So right now, like, I'm in this pivot in my life where I'm focused on calmness, and I'm learning through my dogs, which is the thing that he wants to do. His mission is to help people by teaching them how to communicate with your dogs, and he's using dogs as the tool. And it's an unbelievable mission, man. You know, and so I'm just grateful to be a part of it, and to be able to get to experience it. And I know that it's going to put me in the right mind to lead X-Dog to that next level, you know.
So if you had to leave them with something specific to energy, what would you tell them?
Well, I would say this: be aware of it, right? Put the right foods in your body, right? Because your body is energy, right? Like, I mean, it's energy. We're energy. So you cannot fuel your body with bullshit, right? And it's going to affect you. Exercise, you know. And just, I think those three things: just being aware, putting the right foods in your body, drinking shit tons of water, right? And exercise is important, you know, to any living cell. And be willing to learn, you know. Get yourself around people who that are doing things that are better than you, things that you want to do. But also look at things that you can learn from everybody, in anything, in anybody, right?
The situation you walk through in life is a lesson learned. Yeah,
I mean, somebody does something wrong, you can learn ways not to do things, right? And so just being consciously aware and being an open book to be willing to learn, you know, and just taking that information and do stuff with great intent, man. I don't know what moves the needle for other people. What moves the needle for me is helping people, you know, and helping others. And so being able to go, okay, you got better human, better dog, right? All he's trying to do is help people. I want to now help people because I see his mission, and you know, happy, healthy dog. That's a big deal for me. You know, I want to eliminate canine obesity, and so exercising, being and reducing, satisfying that energy, the dog, and having a tool that is like super versatile that can help with that. I'm proud of that shit, man. You know, and it just, I can't wait to go back out there. I want to do 1s and 2s again. I want to bring my girl out there. I want to send my staff out there, you know, to experience it, because I know the importance of everybody being like-minded and being on the same mission and having the same purpose of just helping people. Man, I mean, if you can help people, man, you're going to have an endless amount of clients.
Now, last thing, and it's not the last thing, but when you think about the people you come in contact with, because see, unfortunately, sometimes there are people who don't want to grow, and that means they just got to go. So when you say, I'm going to send people out there, you're going to send the people who you know are in a responsive state of being to learn more about themselves.
Yeah.
And that goes back to something we talked about in an earlier episode about making sure the mentality is right when people walk through an X-Dog. Because you've been through too much to go through too much more that doesn't benefit both the business and what you're trying to do. And even more importantly, my whole mission's always been the same thing, a selfless act.
Yeah.
How do when people say, hey, what's the greatest lesson? Again, I use the Bible as reference. I'm not a religious person, but I read it 5 times.
Okay.
Grew up on it. And the greatest lesson in there is just selflessness. What's the story?
Well, yeah, if you go look at my post on the way back, I was like, it was just a group of individuals. Like, it was selflessness. I used the exact same word, selflessness at its finest, like at its core. Like, everybody was so willing to help. They were so non-judgmental, you know?
And that part too, Stan and I have had different discussions. I think one of the things that I told you before, I said we gotta focus as we move forward here, even in.
All right, so what are we doing?
We gotta get the outro just in case we go over our time.
You want this one too?
No, we good.
All right, well, you guys are rolling. Start whenever you want.
I'm Trevor. This is Stan. And we want to
I bet this motherfucker don't mind.
go ahead and lead the outro, I guess.
Hey, listen, people. Sometimes our topics get a little bit longer. We don't want to cut it just at 30. If we're really rolling, we keep this thing going. Therefore, at the end of our YouTube, you will see, hey, jump on the links listed below. Follow us on Spotify,
Sure.
Apple,
Sure.
where else? Google.
Wherever else you guys listen us at.
Yeah, wherever we're listed at, and continue to follow and listen to the show, whatever we're talking about. Hopefully you enjoy the topics. Stay tuned. Appreciate you guys' support.
Yeah, and as always, man, leave us a comment, subscribe, share. In the comments or in the reviews, also, leave us some topics that you would like us to discuss. We don't hold back. So if you want us to talk about something, be sure to leave it there. So as always,
Team X Dog Strong.